Four Downs wants to focus on Nico Iamaleava. Let's go ahead and pull up this list of the most interesting players, if we can, Caleb, in college football for the upcoming season. And then we'll play Four Downs, 4 questions with Coop as we'll hop inside the hot tub. Four Downs, again, brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. So Nico Iamaleava Nico has been named one of the most interesting players in the nation. Who put out this list?
Bill Connolly put it out. It's the 10 most interesting quarterbacks entering the 2024 season. And Nico Iamaleava comes in at number 5.
Okay. So you want to play a little bit of Four Downs?
Let's play Four Downs. And there's never going to be fourth down with Nico Iamaleava because he's always going to get first downs.
I mean, I'll be surprised if they face a third down this year.
Me too. I mean, they're just never going to face one.
Oh, third down for not.
Coop here. First down.
All right, first down. And it's brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. What's the most interesting aspect of Nico? Can I go first since I have a little bit of insight talking to some people on the inside of the program? Not that you don't, but I do pretty often. It's his pocket presence. It is that Bryce Young thing. I hate the Bryce Young comparison was done early by some people within the program because of his ability to move within the pocket and his ability to decide whether or not to run or throw. And he's bigger than Bryson. But that to me is the most interesting thing about him, the ability to extend a pass play by moving in the pocket, or the ability to extend a pass play by leaving the pocket, the ability to run. I think he has a great innate nature of when to do that. That's the most interesting thing. I don't always go first, Caleb. When I do, though, I'm pretty good. What's his most interesting aspect? That is Nico.
They're going to think we're Ben Dovering for Nico the way we're loving on him with this episode.
I'll W, my friend.
But I got to say that it's I like your point, but I think it's his touch. I just said it's his touch, but I'm sorry. But it's his touch on the ball. I think it's his touch is amazing.
I could roll with touch because that's exactly what Joe Milton was missing, right?
Yes, because here's the thing. When he throws the deep ball, he puts the perfect amount of air under it. We saw that. And I saw that when he committed to Tennessee on the recruiting trail. So I always thought he had the beautiful deep ball. I didn't realize he had that zip, the perfect zip over the middle when he was throwing it too. And I think that's what stood out to me in the Citrus Bowl. So I honestly think that Nico's touch on passes over the middle combined with his deep ball, I mean, he knows it's not just touch on one throw. He's got the perfect touch on every throw. He knows exactly the right touch to put on every throw.
Gotcha. All right. Well, touch is one. I think that's going to be way different than what Tennessee had with Joe Milton. I think Nico's going to be pretty good. Who on this list is more interesting? And run down the list if you can, because I know it's behind a paywall for some of our cats out there. But it's hard for me to paint a better picture, not knowing every quarterback story. And there might be some guy who was homeless, just a couple of years ago. And obviously that would be a better story than Nico, who is a very talented guy in NIL waters, and he's trying to assert himself and ascend up the depth chart, which he has. So that's a great story, but there might be a better one out there. Do you know of any other ones that might be a better story? And give me some names on that list.
All right, so number 1 is Drew Aller for Penn State. My only issue with that is I don't think there's anything interesting. We know exactly what we're going to get from Drew Aller this year. He's going to beat everybody he's supposed to and lose to Ohio State and Michigan.
I agree. Let's move through these quickly.
Okay, so number 2 is Kyron Drones for Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is, I confess to not knowing as much. Number 3 is Jalen Daniels of Kansas. Now, that's an interesting one because Lance Leipold is doing a great job there. 4 is Avery Johnson at Kansas State. Number 6 is KJ Jefferson at UCF, obviously, the Arkansas quarterback. Now he's at Gus Malzahn at UCF. That's going to be an interesting one. 7,
I would argue from a national perspective that is on the same par as Nico. The only difference is he went to UCF instead of like Florida or Miami. If he had gone to a bigger school, that might be an even bigger story than Nico. But I still think Nico's the biggest story out of what I know out of all the guys that you've mentioned.
Oh, I agree. And never forget that in going into 2022, most analysts and experts had KJ Jefferson rated higher than Hendon Hooker in terms of who was the better quarterback. So after that, we have Josh Hoover of TCU, Miller Moss of USC, Matthew Sluka and or Haj Malik Williams of UNLV, and Preston Stone of SMU.
Where's Nico in this list?
Oh, Nico's number 5. I should have said number 5. He's directly ahead of KJ Jefferson.
Okay. To me, the two best ones then 5 and 6 should be 1 and 2.
Well, best or most interesting?
Most interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I mean, how Nico performs this year says an awful lot. Caleb, I mean, was 2022 a fluke, or was it really what Josh Heupel's offense can be? 4 Downs brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. 4 Downs or 4 seasons of comfort. Please just mention offthehooksports.com. Go out and just check them out. Take a look at their showroom, and they deliver. So why Nico is interesting more with Caleb Calhoun in 60 seconds. Dynasty Pools and Spas brings you 4 Downs. Imagine having the best spas made right here in the United States of America in your backyard. Dynasty Pools and Spas, their showroom is open in Athens, right off the interstate. You can stop by and check out the best hot tubs and spas in the market. And then delivery, yes, they can do that to Knoxville or Chattanooga. They've got complete support, spa cover, and chemicals to keep your spa bubbling at its best. They also have pool chemicals as well. Dynasty Pools and Spas, amazing discounts for first responders, military, and even some blemish models that can save you a ton, and no one will ever notice. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Mention Off the Hook Sports, get $500 off. Dynasty Pools and Spas. Go to dynastypoolsandspas.com or stop by that showroom in Athens. dynastypoolsandspas.com. Dynasty Pools and Spas. So second down was who is as interesting as Nico. When we said KJ Jefferson going to UCF, please take a moment and hit that like and subscribe button. It means a lot for us, and turn the notifications on before we get to third down. We would greatly appreciate that. Brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas. What down, Coop?
Tennessee center Cooper Mays here. Third down.
Nico will rise or fall on this list during this season.
In terms of production, or in terms of
interest?
Well, he will rise because he's going to be the headline stealer every week by October, because he's going to be the Heisman frontrunner.
You have your projections a little bit higher than me. I think after a month, he'll become boring because he will play at a consistently high level, and I don't think he's going to be a quotable guy. So I think heading into October, it'll be Nico's just doing it again. I think he'll become a given a lot sooner than any other quarterback that you've probably seen at Tennessee. I mean, I guess Casey Clausen was a quick given. His first start was against Alabama, and he won. So, Tim
Tebow wasn't boring in press. It was boring in press conferences, and he still was exciting for everybody to watch consistently.
Yeah,
at Florida. So yeah. I mean, I don't.
I'm just nitpicking. I think he'll be a superstar. I just think he'll be a given quicker than a lot of people in the national media. I think he'll be a given by October. You'll say,
I agree.
You'll say this football team is going to get B to A+ play from their quarterback, which is pretty strong. So if Nico is one of the most interesting players in the nation, that would make him the most interesting player on his own team. If it was not Nico, who would be second? 4 Downs brought to you by Dynasty Pools and Spas.
All SEC center Cooper Mays here. 4th down.
It's Brew McCoy, right? He's the second most. Oh, well, maybe it's James Pierce. It's Pierce or McCoy, right? As the most interesting player not named Nico on this football team.
It's Boo Carter. Because Boo Carter's going to end up starting in the secondary, and it's going to be so much fun to watch in the secondary.
Yeah, but I heard from a scout the other day that if Pierce could come out right now, he'd be the number one pick in the NFL draft.
Number 1?
Yes.
Even over what many consider a generational prospect at quarterback? I don't think he's a generational prospect, but people are saying that Caleb Williams is a generational prospect at quarterback.
that he would be in the conversation for the #1 pick, is what this guy told me. Because he was asking me how much I thought that he got in NIL money to stay and not go to another school. He couldn't go to the NFL, obviously. But I don't think it was ever in his interest to stay. I don't think he ever planned for it, is what I told the guy. But to that point, would it surprise me if he got $750,000 for one more year? No.
I think Pierce was smart enough to take a bit of a discount to stay at Tennessee, just because agents or people are telling him, hey, look at the system you're in. You play really well. You're destined to thrive in this system, and then you'll help your draft stock. Don't, as you would say, don't trip over nickels for millions.
Well, and don't trip over happiness for, a little bit more money. Could you have made $800,000 at Kansas instead of $750,000 at Tennessee if they went all in on one guy? Maybe, but he seems pretty happy at the University of Tennessee, and they stood by him. Definitely did in his arrest case with the traffic offense. That hasn't made much news at all.